Ebro In The Morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg, Twista, Chicago rap legend. Give it up.
Yeah.
Twista's here.
Yo, hold up.
Oh, yeah, break it out.
Oh, you see what we have in every single interview, Twist?
I see it all the time.
Every single one.
Yeah, you know what that is.
The famous plaque. You dig? I see it all the time. Yes, sir.
Still, I'm sure you still get a nice little check from that little plaque every once in a while.
You know, a little something every once in a while.
Did all right for you.
Can't complain.
Quick review. What was on that album? I'm just,
Kamikaze?
Yeah, Kamikaze.
Man, Overnight Celebrity was on that album.
That's a good one.
Slow Jams was on there.
That also did well.
Some of my favorite hard songs was on there too, like Kill Us All, what I started the album off with.
Yeah.
I had some joints on there, man. That was one of my favorite albums to make.
And so during that time, you have Kanye West.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Foxx.
Yes, sir.
You worked with Kanye a lot, right? Kanye was on come up as a producer.
Yeah, we worked a little bit when he was coming up.
You did, and I also heard that you wrote a lot for a lot of people during that time as well. So you was writing for, because
a little bit.
You had your hits, and then you was writing for people.
Yeah, a little bit. I was getting it in.
What were those checks? What were those checks looking like? Like, what would it take to get Twista to work on a song?
Man, not a lot. If I'm vibing with the music and I'm really feeling it, I'm gonna want to do it anyway, and we can work that part out. But definitely not a lot. For some reason, I find it easier to write for other people than myself, though.
And you still go straight for people now?
Sometimes, not as much.
And when you write for other people, are you capable completely of writing for a more simplistic style? Because obviously you're capable of doing things that not every person you're writing for is capable of doing.
Definitely. I think that's why it's easier too, because I know I don't go in that same mental zone as I do for myself. I kind of do it for that person a little bit, and it tends to open the style up a little bit. Yeah.
So the Twista story starts when? High school you start rapping? When you start rapping? What year?
Yeah, it was high school. I probably was like 15 or something like that. 14, 15.
And your style, because when you first came out, it was tongue twister that's what you came out as. But that rhyme style, when did you and who did you pattern yourself after?
Really wasn't patterning, like I didn't pattern myself after anybody. I was doing a lot of battle raps. So what happened was, one day I realized, like, man, I done ran through the hood a little bit, and I wanted to do something different. So I was like, man, let me change the rhythm a little bit, because I had the metaphors and punchlines down pat. So I wanted to do something more. I'm like, man, let me mess with the cadence and the style a little bit. And that's when I just started combining the two. Then, I would start hearing other artists. We all thought we invented something new. Then Tretch found out about me, and then we hear a LL or a Poor Righteous Teachers. Then we all started to find out that we all were doing this style, and I think everybody tried to take it to the next level once we realized there was others out there.
We were in the studio. We were like, who would win? Who would win in a little speed rap battle? You or Busta?
Oh, Busta's fast, fast. We actually did a song where we was talking about You Can't Keep Up, and we was going at each other on that vibe. But he is definitely one of the funner persons that I do that type of style with when we get on a song.
He told us a story that Jay Hove and him battled in high school with speed raps.
Oh man,
and he said Hove slayed him back then.
Yeah, Hove was one of the originators of it. They had the joint originators, him and Jazz O. So definitely he was getting in for a long time with that style. People don't know that.
So, what's Twista working on now? Because we got some new music, right, that we're going to get to.
Oh, yeah. Living Legend, joint called Living Legend, letting people know I'm still out here. Some I'm dropping for the end of the year.
And you have a Lil Bibby and Jeremiah on that, too. Are those the only two people you featured in the album?
On this project, pretty much that's out there known. I got a few other people. Definitely Young Berg helped with the project, a few people locally. But
Young Berg, that's a name that usually is synonymous with people making fun of him, but he is a good songwriter too, right?
He kill him on the hits. People just see the image outside, but in the studio,
because he was getting robbed and people was taking his chain and all
also
that.
loving hip hop too.
Yeah, he put himself out there, but industry people know he's a big part of a lot of records over the last few years.
Yeah, he kills them on production, and what he does in the studio, whole nother level. Were you surprised by Kamikaze when that came about? Because
like the names you threw out as your contemporaries early are cats who are from a different era, like the era or two previous to that, and then in the early 2000s you get your biggest hit. Was that a surprise for you at the time?
Definitely, yeah, it was a big surprise. What I did though is I think what people saw with me that they saw different was me to be able to come back 8, 9, 10 years later and still do something like that. I think it just showed people that you don't have to be boxed into a time frame. Like if you got it, you got it, you know, and you can drop a jam at any time. So that was me really still just loving the music, doing what I do, and happen to still be in it fiercely at the time when people like Kanye and the next artist started to sprout out, you know.
Do you watch or pay attention to battle rap now? Because that was your original scene. Like you was heavy. I mean, and at the time you was battling, you had to rhyme to the beat. Now they don't rock to the beat no more. Do you pay attention to it now?
Yeah, I pay attention to it.
You got any favorites?
Yeah, who are you a fan of?
I like Charlie Clips.
Yeah,
you know, I like a lot of them. I like Mook. You know, yeah, them like my main two cats. I like. It's a bunch of them though, man. Me and my guy be watching all the time.
Sue Surf.
I like Sue Surf.
Yeah.
Math. I like Math.
Yeah, Math is
now
dope.
Keith Murray was up here, and we heard a rumor that y'all was supposed to battle, or he wanted to battle you, and he was like, "Nah, Twista didn't want to do it." Is that true, or you didn't even
For like $200,000 too?
The $200,000 is a new one on me. But yeah, it was just I think somebody asked me an opinion about who would win in a battle between him and Fredro. And
right?
I just gave my opinion. I sat back. I thought. I was like. I mean, because to be honest, I like Keith Murray as an artist in a different way. So when I heard battle rap, I just gave my honest opinion. You know, I think this person would probably win.
And who'd you say, Fredro?
Yeah, I said Fredro.
Which I think he won because Keith got up there drunk, he told us.
Well, according to Keith, when he came to see us, Keith completely acted only as if he won. Which is the beauty of battle rap. The winner is in the eye of the beholder.
I think he acted like he did well. Better than people gave him credit for.
I think he used the word "won."
Yeah,
No. At some point, he was like, "The reason I won was." He definitely said that.
I love Keith.
By the way, but don't get me wrong. I don't think it was the blowout that people acted like it was. I do think Keith.
Well, because the thing about Murray is he's got showmanship. So even if he's up there, not quite on point, he's fucking entertaining no matter how you look at it.
Yeah,
very
definitely.
So would you ever battle Keith Murray?
Man, it'll probably take me. I got to get in a nice zone to get back into battling. But I mean, definitely, if something came to that level, you know, where I felt that type of vibe or energy, where I got to do this, definitely I would.
So it'd be about the money. If the money was right, you got the energy.
Probably so. Yeah.
It would probably encourage.
Not 200,000. So how much? How much?
No, that's enough right there. I'll take that. Shit.
Twista says he battles Keith Murray for 200,000. Boom. Do people want to see it? We don't know. I ain't got 200,000 put up. Somebody might though. Would Twista or is Twista still making money off of these big hits? Do those checks still come in?
Definitely, man. You know, when you think about the body of work and what happens with everything and what I get in and how I'm still out here moving around as a whole, I definitely still benefit off the grind.
So you're able to pay some bills still?
Yeah,
off them hits.
Of course.
Some bills, all bills.
Man,
would you think he works in a parking garage on the weekend?
Nah, so he might be touring. Like I'm just saying specifically off the music.
Well,
he
but
might
you don't,
still be touring and doing other things.
But you don't tour that much, do you? Unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I don't think I've seen you around here playing though.
I move around. Like I think in this day and age, you might have an artist in your town have a sellout show and you didn't even know he was there. You know, so I think it's so saturated right now with everybody. Like I still move around just like everybody else. You know, doing
do you
thing.
like what's happening with Chicago though musically? I mean, there's a lot of Chance the Rapper. You obviously Lil Bibby. You have what's his name now? G Herbo, Vic Mensa.
See, you got to think. Nobody knew the internet was gonna be like it was. So I'm coming from my city, coming out here, coming everywhere, telling people it's talent in the Chi. It's talent in the Chi. Then one day we get the opportunity to push a button and show what's happening in the room.
Yeah.
And so now you're able to see it. So that's the blessing about Chicago getting on is that we don't have to travel so far anymore to get a record deal or to be heard. You know.
Do you know any of the young guys?
Yeah.
Like Vic or Chance or any of those guys?
Yeah, I know Vic. When I did the Cocoa Butter Kisses joint, me and Vic and Chance is on that joint together.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah, I know a lot of the guys. Bibby, I remember him. Lil Herb is the nephew of a guy named K-Tone who used to rap with my homie Traxter who produced me. So a lot of these little guys came
was
up
raised around
me.
it.
Yeah. Like they would tell me stories of who their people were, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember being in the studio with him, or oh yeah, that OG, yeah, that's your pops, or So I be knowing these guys.
But it's a nice moment in terms of solidifying Chicago's great history with hip hop, I think. I think like this era is like, for example, it's like a good sports organization, right? You can have your one run as a team, and that's really cool. But when you have that second run and third run, now the Giants, for example, have become a great NFL organization because it wasn't just that they won in the mid 80s, but then that they won again in the mid 2000s, and then again, and now you're like, okay, this is an organization. It's sort of the same with Chicago hip hop, right? Like there was a run in the late 80s, early 90s, and then Kanye comes out in the late 90s, and now you have another run, another batch of people like Chance and Vic Mensa and many more who people think are some of the most talented in the game. So I think it's probably a great look for the city overall.
Yeah, it is, man. Like, the game has opened up for us. Like I said, people used to ask like, man, how did you get on? I used to be like, man, y'all can take a train to the record label. I got to take a plane to the record label. Now it ain't, it's way past that now. Like I said, you could push the button and be seen wherever you at. So it just opened it up for Chicago in so many ways.
Now then there's the other part. I'm sure you've seen the transition and just everything we hear about the sad stuff on the news with the gun violence and just everything that's going on in the street. Can you articulate, and we've had multiple conversations with, from Common to Bibby to anybody that's come up here to talk about kind of us wrapping our brain around why so much violence, what happened in Chicago that things escalated to this point. There's a lot of violence around America, but it seems like Chicago's at a different level. You just had the mayor fire the chief of police. You had the police incident with the protests, and he put 16 bullets in a young man that was on, I think the man was on, 17-year-old kid was on some drugs and had a knife, and he popped 16 times. And there was cops standing around that had the situation semi under control. This guy jumps out as soon as he gets to the scene.
6 seconds later.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. In every city, and like I said, I won't sit and say we aren't rough or probably one of the roughest, but like as long as I've been in the game, I've watched it move from coast to coast, city to city. I remember
when
people,
DC was
New
Orleans was
you're scared to go to New Orleans or Baltimore. I remember being worried about going to the West Coast because of how NWA and them was rapping, or or man, we going to Long Beach. Damn, Snoop and them say it's hard up there. You know what I mean? So another thing I attribute it to is you can see everything that's going on. Like this stuff been going on everywhere, but now you can see what's happening in Chicago, and it always follows the rappers, man. Like if you got some hot artists coming from that town, they pay attention to that town for some reason with the violence. You know what I mean? When Snoop was popping, you thought Long Beach was the hardest mother. You know what I'm saying? When Biggie was popping, you was like, oh, I'm scared to go to Brooklyn, So, man, we got it popping, man. Chief Keef and them got the city turned up, man. So, you paying attention to the artists, you paying attention to the violence, too. It's crazy.
Now, speaking of Chief Keef, the movie Chi-Raq just came out. You have some Chicagoans like Chance and others. Vic, it seemed critical as well, who were critical of the film. I haven't seen it yet, although I will say when I saw the trailer, I seemed to understand a lot more of where Spike was going with it than originally we heard about it. Have you seen the movie yet? Do you have a stance on Chi-Raq?
No, I haven't seen it. I only saw the trailer. So it's only so far I can go as far as my opinion of it as a movie. But just the idea I wasn't too thrilled about, just opinion, because I feel like the subject matter is a little too serious to
satire,
joke about it or satire it in any way. You know what I mean? Like I felt like the city deserved a real good serious movie, especially after the last movie about the city like that was what? Cooley High? You got somebody jumping up in the theater talking about Disciple, and then the next movie is you know what I mean? So it's like just wanted it to be a little more authentic. You know what I mean? Then I've been here answering that question a lot. I was like, damn, what would you feel about somebody coming here that's not a fan of the Knicks, take a bunch of people that ain't from here, then have Nick Cannon play the main character about something that's very, very true and serious to New York right now. You know what I mean? That's
a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and that's what we discussed, which is the fact that it's a serious subject, and Spike Lee is putting a fictional spin to it, and that's never going to, because it's not a documentary, right?
Well, you could do that, though. I think you can do that correct me if I'm wrong. Well, two things. One, Jennifer Hudson is in the film, and she, of course, her family is the victim of gun violence in Chicago, her mother and her brother. But at the same time, I feel like the satire part could be cool. This may be one of those times when, like, the phrase too soon, like, if he was to satire it in a few years, maybe it would be easier.
Yeah.
But when literally, I think during them filming the movie over 45 days, there was something like 250 or 300 shootings and 70 deaths over that time in Chicago when they were filming. So I think I understand people being particularly not up for the satire yet.
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah. That was one of my main things. Not up for the satire, And then, I mean, it's just my opinion. That some parts, like some ideas, are like corny to me. Like, why would you take some theme or something that happened from the Greek civilization and use it in modern day times? The Greeks was wild, Judge. What you gonna use something from a civilization? They was, you know what I'm saying? And then what you had the women doing. I mean, the women couldn't have a conversation and go talk to their men about stopping violence. They had to close their legs. You're trying to tell me the only power that they got is what's down there to try to stop the violence? You know what I mean? So it was a little derogatory towards women, a little bit to me too.
Will you see it to have a more full opinion, or do you not want to?
I'll check it out to see if it's a nice little movie. I still don't like the idea. The movie can be dope as hell. I still don't like the idea.
Right. And from the people that we've heard that have seen the movie say it's a good movie. It's a good film.
Yeah, it probably is.
But it's still not going to fly the test for people who are from Chicago living through that. What's going on there?
Coming to the city, don't get a lot of people in the city to play the parts of what you're talking about, then to make a satire of something that's so serious. Man.
How do you feel about them having anti-gun protests? Instead of having like a rap party when they premiered the film, they had a protest here in Times Square.
You say, how do I feel about Chicago having a...
No. See, Spike Lee, when they did the movie premiere here, instead of having like a big party with all the celebrities, they had an anti-gun protest in Times Square.
That's good.
But so whatever do you?
It's not whatever. I mean, you should do that anywhere. I definitely think he should have done one in Chicago too, though.
Oh, so they didn't do a screening in Chicago yet that we know about?
No, they did a screening in Chicago.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
But they didn't do it.
I'm talking about the protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been smart for them to do that. Well, look, Twista has an album out, Living Legend. You can copy it right now. When's it on sale? What's the details?
Man, it's out right now. It's an EP. About 7-8 hard joints on there, letting you see how I'm coming with it for the next year. And, letting you see I'm still strong in it.
I mean, we want to see if you're still strong in it.
Well, damn.
Well, damn. Might as well, though.
You got some bars? You got anything that didn't make the album that you just want to, you ain't have to.
Huh? This sound like an old verse. My mental complex can get as lethal as bomb threats when I put together patterns and concepts. MCs evacuate when I activate. Raps are fake. My brain masturbates to ejaculate that decapitates. Niggas' backs are break when I captivate. I'm at the plate when I'm strapped with hate to fly motherfuckers' heads over the gate. Beat them C's at ease in the breeze. Freeze them at 3 degrees. Flow deities. Niggas don't got the key to these. Ease. Off of the shit that I'm busting. Discussing us and verbal dusting. I'm crushing nuts and guts and leaving niggas disgusting. When I'm thrusting like rockets, I pull lies out of sockets. Put a clip to my lip and cock it for punks without a pocket topics. I'm too hyped to stop it. You too microscopic. I dwell in the chamber like toxic. Okay.
By the way, the old school built-in edits. These new cats don't know
He's used to rapping on the radio, right? He's used to doing radio edits.
He's done that before.
Yo,
See, you know I'm old school, man.
Yeah. Big up Twista, man. Give it up, man.
Thank y'all.